I came across this interesting map here by this Facebook page that I follow called Terrible Maps. And usually they are terrible. It's sort of a joke page, but sometimes they do stuff that I don't really think is a joke because it's like kind of interesting. And this one is kind of interesting. It's which of the world's 10 biggest cities are you closest to by region? So if you live in this red circle, your closest biggest city is Mexico City. The one that got me was Cairo, Egypt, because I always thought that Lagos in Nigeria was the biggest. I mean, it was like one of the biggest cities. And it isn't, only because of its surrounding metropolitan area. So the actual Cairo proper, which you can see in this red circle, is I think 17 million population. So you can see I was already doing some searching here. Population of Cairo is 10.1 million, but then the greater area is 22 to 23 million. So that is huge. But then if we look up population, so hold on, let me do another window. Lagos population is 17.8 million in the metro. So, but then 21 million to the wider estimate. So in Cairo proper versus Lagos proper, Lagos definitely is a bigger city. But I guess if you're considering all of the sort of metro urban sprawl area, you know, Cairo surrounding, it's bigger. You know what I mean? But not really. I mean, Lagos, I think, what, am I reading these numbers right? Okay, let's just look at the proper. City proper of Cairo is 10.1. City proper of Lagos is 17.8 million. And then wider Lagos is 21. Wider Cairo is 23. So yeah, I guess, but it's so significantly bigger in the population. Like, let's look up Lagos. Lagos, I mean, it's just a bigger city, I feel like, in land, but it is really, really populated. It's crazy when you zoom into these places. I don't think there's street view data. Oh, there is in Lagos. Okay. So, yeah. Fun fact, this is where my dad lives sometimes, like chunks of the year. And this is what a wild situation here, right? Africa is a interesting country, excuse me. Wow. As an interesting continent. Let's just say Nigeria is like an interesting continent because, it's got urban, you know, I mean, I think when people think of Africa, they think of this, which is a lot of the continent. Don't get me wrong. But then there is like a downtown, you know, I mean, maybe I'm just showing my American ignorance here. Maybe this isn't as shocking to anybody else, but there is, like, I've seen, you know, skyscrapers and stuff. I don't know where to find that here though. But there definitely is. Somebody who knows Nigeria better, my brother and my dad, could definitely chime in on this a lot better than I could. But what's the other one in Kenya? There's a big city. Nairobi. This one is definitely has like a downtown situation going on with it. I don't know where to find it. Yeah, here. Right? Like, this is definitely, I don't think, what people don't think of this kind of stuff when they think of Africa, or any particular country in Africa. At least I feel like it's not as obvious to me. Again, maybe I'm just extra American ignorant with my world understanding. What's real fun, though, I find, is if we go way out and we go over on the globe. So you saw Mexico City. Mexico City is massive. I mean, the outer Mexico City population is 21. Oh, okay. So I guess it's not that much bigger than what we've already been looking at. But there's some, like, really... see, where's Mexico City? Isn't it up in here somewhere? I want to say, I thought it was like more northern. Let's see if I can just spot it without having to search. I thought it was more northern, but maybe I'm totally off. Mexico City. Oh, yeah, it is. It is southern. But there's some crazy images up here in the hills because it's so, like, they have these just wicked, sprawling, like, I've seen photos, literally, like, this perspective that I'm looking at right now, and it really puts in perspective, like, Mexico City. Let's find some images of it. If I put in Mexico City population density, maybe it'll. Nope, that just gives me a bunch of maps. I swear there's like one particular image that I'm looking at, that I'm remembering, where it, like, when you look at it, you go, whoa, that's a lot of people. I mean, this is definitely one of them. I mean, wow, look at this. That's looking pretty China, in my personal opinion. But that's still not the most shocking image that I can think of. Mexico City hills, maybe. Yeah, this is it. Look at this. I mean, does this not kind of blow your mind a little bit? Look, it's got to load the population. It's too many people. It's too many. God, I want to pull up this picture exactly. Okay, here's Reddit. We can at least look at a Reddit image. Like, doesn't that just kind of blow your mind a little bit? That looks like something generated, because you have these are all houses. I know it's perspective. It's not like any more radical than what you see in other countries, because Tokyo is also, like, what's the population of Tokyo? Population of Tokyo, I think, is bigger than these. Oh no, 14 million, but it's 37 to 41 million people. Yeah, I mean, it looks that way when you look up at Tokyo, Japan. Sorry, excuse me. That was not, yeah, like, this is all city. I mean, this is just massive, massive, massive. It just sprawls forever. They have a lot of more green, though, you know, like, they have a lot of green space. I think you'd have to have a city this large. But it is wild, 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 wild. It's super dense. And when you look at, I remember looking up a set of directions or something through Tokyo, and the addresses are crazy. Like, let's pick a random business here, like this concourse. I don't know. I'm not gonna find an example, but I swear I've looked at addresses in Tokyo before that are, like, you know, a paragraph long. I don't know if it's just the language translation thing, or if it's the fact that you know, it's so divided or something like that. But I think what is the largest city in the world? I want to say it's Shanghai. Largest city in the world by population. Jakarta will blow me over. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be an idiot here. Where the hell is Jakarta? Indonesia. Okay. Well, what's the population of Jakarta then? Let's take a look. Population of Jakarta is 42 million. Woof. That's massive, dude. Gosh. There's too many people on this earth and on this little island. Wow, why? What's their Grok, why? Population of Jakarta. No, we want Jakarta main industry. That's what I want to know. I bet you it's finance, trade, and manufacturing. Finance. Interesting. Wouldn't have ever known. Wouldn't have ever thunk. But again, that's me being ignorant. Being an ignorant American, where I think all finance is happening right here in New York City, the great capital of the world. Jakarta, that's massive. Okay, all right. Well, then where does Shanghai stack up? Population of Shanghai. Shanghai is also pretty massive. 30 to 31 million. It doesn't, it's about a New York City smaller than Jakarta. Okay, what were the other largest city in the world by population? What was the other one? Jingao. Sorry, what are these names? China, 48 million. Yeah, so Jakarta, these numbers are all over the place. I guess it's because it's estimations, but Jakarta is 28, Shanghai 31, Tokyo 39. So Jiangsu, man, I am just feeling real uneducated right now. I don't know how to say any of these names. Oh, is this off of the what's this river? This is a big one. What's it called? Nope. One. No. That's hold on. Where's like it's called the Yellow River? What is it called again? Where Shanghai is. Let's see. Shanghai is, hold on. I know this. I know these things. Shenzhen. No. Shanghai. Okay. What is this name of this river? Is a big one. River. Oh shoot. It's I swear it's like one of the largest rivers in China. Largest river in China. Oh, it is the Yangtze. Oh, well, where the hell's the Yangtze? Is that where I was just looking? Is that just where my eyeballs were? Yeah, okay, Yangtze River. Yeah, this is like, I mean, that's the reason that Shanghai, because it's a big port. Where were we looking at, though? This one. This is the biggest city. Wow. Interesting. You know, if I just zoom out and then zoom into Shanghai, looking a little bigger. Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard. So there's something called, there's metropolitan area, and then there's like super metropolitan area, or how's it? Maxipolitan area. What is it called? There's metropolitan. What's larger than metropolitan? There's another word for a larger. Megalopolis. A megalopolis. So let's look up. So this is like what you would classify a collection of giant cities. Largest megalopolis, Northeast, Bangwash, Greater Tokyo, Chai Pits. Okay, so let's see. Where's this one? So this includes what cities? This is the north. Oh, this is the one I was just about to talk about. So the eastern seaboard is a megalopolis. Am I saying that right? Yeah, megalopolis, whatever. I'm overthinking it. But the megalopolis would be, like Boston stretching down through New York City, Philadelphia. Like it's the whole eastern seaboard because it's all very interconnected in terms of like it's this one giant sort of connected population settlement. That's interesting. A Boswash is what it's called. The largest by area in the world. It's so interesting that that's in the Northeast. It's because it's a small country, you know. I mean, land wise, like the United States is not. It doesn't slap with the big boys. But I would think totally it would be all this because the entire eastern seaboard, if you will, of China is massive. I've been to Shanghai once when I was in 5th grade, and it was one of the most shaping experiences of my life. It totally shaped my worldview because I remember having this moment of thinking like, and I mean, I have a much more nuanced take on this opinion now, but I remember at the time being like, maybe we shouldn't be saving everyone's lives. Like maybe disease and population control is here for a reason, because at the time, and again, there's so much that goes into it. This is a 5-year-old's perspective, but at the time I remember having this kind of thought about like, the quality of life here is so low because they had so much poverty and stuff because it's the biggest city I'd ever seen. And I wouldn't, I spent a ton of time in Qingdao up here. I spent 8 weeks in Qingdao once for a big beer festival that I was doing some content for with a group. And I had the same shock of like, these cities are so freaking massive, but I wouldn't say I was like, I don't know. I have a much more complicated opinion about population. I do think we are overpopulated by Earth, but there's a tipping point where, I don't know, there's like some complex kind of socioeconomics studies, like theory, like people who are much smarter than me and know much more about everything in the world more than me. I've seen it explained that as your population gets bigger, there's like a shift in the economics where people start having less kids. So there are sort of like these unintentional buffers. I remember going across this bridge though once. It is a very long bridge. It takes like 30 minutes to get across. It's just 30 minutes of driving across this humongous bridge. Huge infrastructure project. And then you have like these wetlands over here, this farming. Isn't this interesting? Oh no, this is water. What are they fishing? Is this like no, wetland park. Oh, and there's no pictures. No pictures allowed in China. It's interesting. It is China is so fascinating. Sam and I were talking about this. China and Japan are so interesting, especially Japan. Japan is such an interesting culture because it has been fractured so many times. I mean, they have had so many rise and falls of government powers, if you will. I mean, kings and emperors, like all that stuff. But they've just been dominated and then fractured out to all these little things, and then all conquered and then fractured out again. And so not only is it a super old history, but it's a history that has had many like ideological reigns. And so a lot of the art and the culture is like heavily influenced by this incredibly, I don't want to call it tumultuous because it's over such a long period of time, but if you were to condense it, it's had a lot of tumultuousness. Same thing with China. These are just really, really old civilizations. Like, I mean, you look at Egypt and stuff like that, or Greece, and those are old too, but those are dominated by very large eras of rule. And China and Japan, to my like very little knowledge of it, seems to have not had such has had a lot more of those sort of civilizations. You know, like the United States has more or less been under one government. I mean, we're about as young and baby as it gets in terms of a country and its government and its history. But you know, it's like if you had like rise and falls of nations 10,000 times over the course of, you know, thousands of years, you would just have this very interesting collage of culture. Like you even see it now, like leftover stuff from the Civil War and, you know, from various times of like Western culture being very, kind of like the gold rush and, the West, the traditional Wild West. And then you have like so much, labor union kind of stuff like in Boston and New York, where there's so much history with like, you know, what am I trying to say? Like, industrial revolution stuff, you know, they went through, and that's just over the course of a very, very small period of time. So then if you magnify it out to China or Japan, where they've had this just that times 100 bazillion, you get a lot. And I'm sure, you know, most of the world is like this too, but China and Japan just seem like this extra interesting cultural tapestry. I've often said this is so weird, but it's like, for some reason, I always describe like Japan's culture looks the way their language sounds. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's, for some reason, that's always made sense to me in my head. And yeah, and then you've got North Korea. Look at North Korea. Thriving in their cities. It's crazy that we have this much like satellite imagery of the world. You know what I mean? Like this government, what did they think about? What does North Korea think about our satellite mapping their country with satellites? You know, look at this. Look, no traffic. The dear leader. Their dear leader has really he's got traffic figured out. They got it figured out. Look at all this. God, what a horrible country to live in. I don't know. It's kind of like, honestly, North Korea to me is a little bit like the Amish. If we had, like, we romanticize the Amish religion and the Amish community so much, but having spent a little bit of time in Amish country, you know, growing up, like little bits here and there, I have a feeling it might not be all that awesome. I think it's like everything else. There's good and bad, but I think sometimes we romanticize it so much. But it also is like very, I mean, it's religion. If you ever leave an Amish community, you're exiled. You can never come back. And you're living in a bubble. Again, not that technology is like great. I think there's a lot of aspects to the Amish religion that are probably very good, in terms of just the lifestyle that they live. And in a way, this might be controversial. I'm just spitballing, I'm just having a thought as a human here. I wonder if maybe North Korea, there's like a tiny, like an arranged marriage, like arranged marriages are horrible, but in a way it's like, I don't know, you kind of have to make a decision and you have no other options. Sometimes, like depression comes out of choice. I don't know. I realize I'm boiling this down deeply, but sometimes I think about North Korea. It's like, well, it's kind of like a modernized Amish. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're living in constant rule and famine and always being watched, and you can't criticize your government, and you have no free speech and all those things. But maybe on the other hand, I don't know. I need to ask a North Korean. Be like, is it all that bad? They probably would say yes. No, it's absolutely horrible. I'm just having an idea. I'm just thinking. I'm just exploring thoughts, exploring types of things. It's so interesting that I can go in and look at all this stuff. Let's go see if we can go. Let's go to the border. I've seen those images where like North Korea is like dark. Oh yeah, Pyongyang. That's their main capital, right? I mean, they got some architecture. It all looks dated. It's so Soviet era. Very weird. Soviet era stuff. Pyongyang. Look at that. Oh, they got trains. They got high-speed rails. They're already ahead of us. Oh, how I want a high-speed rail in the United States so bad. I want to be able to walk down to the corner and take a high-speed rail to my work so bad. Instead, our like the best version of public transportation that we have in this country is like the T, which is just horrible. Interesting. I hope to someday, I don't know, see more of these places. I love this. I'm fascinated with this. This is the Alps. It separates Nepal and Tibet. Tibet's very dry, very, very dry. But then just south in Nepal and all these places under here in India are very, very wet. And it's all because there's this giant mountain range that separates the climate, that prevents this moisture from moving north. And I love that. It's such a beautiful like visualization of how much geography can affect other aspects of geography. Geography affects climate. That's what I'm trying to say. Pretty crazy. All right, well that's it. Thanks for coming down this rabbit hole. All started with this map. Just was fascinated by Cairo being larger than Nigeria, which I actually don't even remember where we landed on that, but I do know that Cairo is the biggest city. I would say my biggest takeaway from this little exploration is that Jakarta is the largest city in the world, pretty much. So shocking. Or no, I guess we found out. I don't know. There's too many alternative data points to make a definitive decision there.